Hello and welcome back to Live to Fish 64. I've got this 1986 85 horsepower Force 2-stroke that I'm rebuilding the carburetors on. So stay tuned. This episode will show the actual reassembly. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Finally arrived 3 weeks later. Okay, so this is carburetor number 1. This is the top carburetor. You can tell that by the solenoid armature here. So, and I also labeled them, but you can see that number 1 right here. So we're going to start putting this one back together. It's all cleaned. All 3 carburetor kits for the needle and seat are in here. So we've got one kit for 3 carburetors. So I got to be careful not to lose anything here. Okay, so that's one kit right here. Actually, I stand corrected. There's only 2 carburetor kits. Well, that's unusual, but there's 3, I don't know. There's 3 needle and seats. Must have given us an extra needle. Oh, it's a different size. That's why. Different size needle. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so this is not the one we want here, but this needle will not work. But these 2 packages are. So there was only 2. I thought there was 3 in each one, and he did buy 3, so there's 3 kits, 3 needles and seats, and then we have 3 other kits that have the gaskets in them. So, and Welsh plugs and springs and whatever else we need. So, hope you can see that. It's got an R96 part number on that, and this has got a different part over here, R96. This has got a different tag on it too, F75038. So, same here, F75038. Okay, and this one's not labeled. Alright, so we have 3 carb kits ready to go. Now I've already started to put the main jet back in on this one. I put the, I don't know what that jet's for, but I also put that one back in. If you can see that jet there, and that jet there. And they're all clean. Okay, this is bag number 1 for carburetor number 1. Has all the parts in it. Bowl. These are actually all the old parts. So some of these things I may need, but I do want to compare. I want to compare the old needle and seat to the new one. So there's the old one. Okay. And here is the new one. New one is on your right. The old one don't look all too bad, actually. We're going to go with the new one. It looks exactly like this one, so I'm going to use it. Put that old one aside. The new spring. Okay. That's the new spring. So we're going to use that. And this is the seat. See how tiny that is? See how tiny that is? Very tiny. Very tiny. So don't want to lose any of these parts. And this is the locking ring that holds that in. So that's going to be going in as well. These are all new parts. I have the old ones, but we're putting those aside for now. Some of those parts I'll bring back and use, but not right now. Okay. We have our float. This is our old spring. And our gasket that goes inside the carburetor. So I think I might have to reuse that if the gasket kit does not contain that. Okay, what does our gasket kit contain? It's also an R96 on the bag, so it matches this other kit. The only difference between this kit that I just showed you and the other kit with just the needle and seat is that this kit has a different needle and seat. So this goes to a different carburetor, so I won't be using that. But the gasket I will. This is for the bowl. That's new. The Welsh plug I will definitely use because I did remove the Welsh plug on the carburetor, as you can see here. Here. So that Welsh plug has been removed. Well, anyway, I'm going to put in the needle and seat right now. I'm going to take this seat. See, there's a little ring around that seat. And I believe that ring goes down. So I'm going to drop it in there. All right, I'm going to put the little lock in there and see if I can't get that. Okay, I've got that ring down in there, and you can see the green seal with the locking ring around it, and it seems to seal okay. So now, in this photo, you can see the way the spring was oriented on the float during reassembly. You'll need to apply the pin in position before reassembling it, the float back into position. Remove the pin slowly, but not completely, when positioning the float and lining up the holes with the spring and the pin. This may take a couple of attempts to get this done correctly. All right, that's in, but that carburetor bowl does look a little high on this side to me. It's supposed to be parallel to this base, and clearly it's not. It's sitting high. So I need to bend that tab back a little bit. I think that looks a little better. Pretty good. The angle that it's at looks good to me when it's up, when it's in the operating position. That looks okay. So I'll do that to all 3 carburetors and just reassemble. So, okay, moving on. Yeah, the kit came with a spring, but the spring looks larger to me in the new kit, and I don't know why it would be that much larger. That would be the spring that goes in here, and I certainly don't want to create an interference fit. Don't seem to make sense. Sometimes these aftermarket kits, they just aren't right. This has definitely got more windings on the spring too. You can see it's a little tighter wind. Maybe it's got more spring load. Well, but it fits in there. The new one. I might have to chuck that in the vise, so I'll be back. I'm going to throw in one of these Welsh plugs. That's too big. That's the right size right there. So that's the one I want. So I'll be back. Chuck it in the vise and just use a punch and a hammer and just flatten it out. And that'll do it. Now, just to show you what I did, I put a little divot there. I used a punch and just kind of knocked it in there, sealed it up. What I typically saw when I pulled it apart was there was a red sealer around there. So I'm going to throw some gasket maker RTV sealant on here just in case, but I'm not sure why they do that. Most carburetors I've ever seen don't have a sealant on there, but didn't want to put any inside there because I don't want to take the chance of plugging any holes. And that's all I'm going to do. Now look at the that's reason. Tighten that up. Okay. That's not up. So one is done. Put that aside. Do number 2. I won't bore you for the reassembly of carburetors 2 and 3, but stay tuned for the next episode when you'll see this 1986 Force reassembled with the carburetors on it, and hopefully we can get this motor running and back to the owner. Okay, so now we got her all back together again. All 3 carburetors assembled. Linkage will need to be adjusted on the vehicle, on the motor, and probably the choke assembly as well. So we'll get her back on and try to fire it up, see what happens. Stay tuned.